Hello, everyone. I want to start out by saying happy ho ho horror Christmas. You see what I did there? Yes, no matter what you're celebrating or nothing at all, maybe Festivus for the rest of us. Whatever it is, I hope you have a fantastic day. And maybe my book recommendation will give you something to do when the family starts arguing and you just want to escape for a little bit because this is a good one. All right. Let's get started. All right. So our book today is called RYE. It came out in 2021, I believe. It was recommended, a random tweet, I believe it was. Somebody said, I just read this book. I thought it was fantastic. I looked at the cover. And I went, well, I've never heard of it, so of course I am interested. I found out this is this author's first novel and only novel. He has a novella for sale, according to Google there, and I guess he's working on another one, but man, this one is a banger. This one caught me off guard. I didn't know anything about it going in, and I'm not going to give too much away, because the less you know going in, the better off you're going to be with this one. Because it just starts out very interesting. I'll just give you the setup, and that's it. Everything else you have to discover on your own. But there's a woman who goes back to her small town after her mother dies because of a promise she made when she was a child. She promised her mother that she would take care of their father should something happen to the mother. And she's going back. Now, for most people, that might not be a big deal, but for this woman, it's a huge deal because she had an accident that caused her to forget things. She has a little bit of amnesia from a certain portion of her life. And she spent many years inside of a psychiatric hospital where she became kind of a best-selling romance author. She wrote her novels, most of them from inside the walls of this psychiatric hospital. Then she spent some years in rehab while they tried to condition her for the outside world. But when she got out, she was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with people or anything like that. She secluded herself on an island, the only inhabitant of an island, to continue writing. She does not want to have anything to do with people. When she was growing up, her father was the vicar of the local church in that town, and he was and still is just a hate-filled, cruel, abusive bastard, basically. He is a mean guy. Every little thing she did as a child, she was punished for. Hellfire and brimstone, ultra-religious kind of guy. And he doled out both verbal and physical abuse on her and her mother as they were growing up. They were living in fear, basically, from this man. And now his health is deteriorated. He's blind, but he's still as horribly vicious as he ever was. And he just lays right into Renata. That's the main character's name, from the moment she gets there. While she's there, by the way, I should mention this, her mother didn't just die. Her mother was ritualistically murdered. Her body was burned and words were etched into her flesh. And so while she's there, she meets an American horror author, a highly successful horror author, and his name is RYE. And the words that were etched into her mother's body happened to be from a book of his. So he flew over under the pretense of helping the police get inside the mind of whoever could have done this and why they thought his book was an inspiration for committing this atrocity. And then things take a turn, and that's where you're going to have to find out for yourself. It is a fantastic, bloody, revenge-filled story from then on out. Yeah, and like I said, man, this book goes from, okay, this is really interesting. It's a holy God, what is going on here? And does that pretty fast. Because about halfway through, we're going to learn something. and something that normally you would find out at the end of the book. And, you're only maybe a little bit more than halfway through, and all of a sudden this revelation is thrown at you, and you're like, oh God, this is not going to end well for anybody. And then you just have to keep reading. You just have to keep turning those pages on the edge of your seat or on the edge of your Kindle, however you read. And yeah, you will be pleasantly surprised because just when you think this is a book about good and evil, and all the pieces moving together, all of a sudden he pulls the rug out from under you, and nothing is as it seems, and things are going to get extremely violent, extremely bloody, and it's not going to end well for anyone. So yeah, for RYE, I highly recommend this book. I'm really glad I read it. Finally, somebody recommended it, and I'm very happy that they did that. And you can pick up your copy of For RYE for your Christmas reading pleasure, I guess you can say. Go ahead and have your ham and open your presents, and then go ahead and download this book and have yourself a merry little horror Christmas, because this one will scare you. And I'll leave a link down below where you can purchase this book right through the Amazon. And also, I have my books down there, so feel free to go ahead and click around. Check out all those links down there. I got copies of my books. I got my newsletter you can sign up for, free horror stories, and all my social media. I'd love to have you join me on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what have you. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time, spending it here with me. I really appreciate you guys watching. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.